Okay, so the next cookie we're going to work on is a mum. So I know this doesn't quite look like a mum right now. I did not put any lines traced on this because the beautiful thing about flowers is that they are all absolutely unique and they can be frilled any way you want. So I'm going to do this in two different colors. I've got two of them here. So I'm going to do one in red and one in orange. How beautiful are those colors? All natural colors, you guys. How pretty is this? Anyway, okay. So again, cutting your bag as small as possible, the tip of the bag. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to outline where I want the flooding bits to go, meaning I'm just going to put down a little icing. I'm going to make it look frilly, see? And it doesn't have to be perfect because, again, nature is perfectly imperfect. So see how I'm just kind of creating a few different frills here. I feel like we need a little music, huh? See how that's starting to take form? You can make these a lot bigger if you want to. You can make them a lot smaller if you want to. Oops. I personally like to go bigger the further out from the center you go. It just feels more natural to me. And as you get to the outer ends, you don't have to use the whole cookie, so you don't have to like do the semicircle that's shown on there. You can leave a little bit of the cookie bare. That is totally okay. This would be a really pretty succulent cookie as well. If you had green, you could make this look really pretty as a succulent. Just remember, your cookie cutters that you have at home are perfect for whatever you want to make them into be. So again, the thing about icing small places or small sections is that oftentimes the icing may collapse. So put it in front of a fan after you ice those. That's the most important step to do. But one of the other things I like to do is put down a little bit of icing as well, so that it doesn't collapse. It's hard to tell which one to do here. So this one's going to take a few rounds of flooding. I think I did that wrong, but that's okay. We're just going to put this here too. It's not going to hurt anything. Maybe I'll just put a little icing in each and every one of them. Gets harder to know where your lines are for what you're trying to fill in though. Okay, I'm gonna let this sit for just a minute or two, just to give it a little structure. So let's wait a couple minutes, we'll come back and we'll flood it in. Okay, so I've let it crust over just a little bit, so we're gonna go ahead and start filling in these little sections. And as you can see, it's starting to just sit on the top there. That's exactly what we want to see. Let's see. Let's do this one. It's really hard to tell which one you should do first, because you don't want the icing to touch from one section to the next, because then it won't give it that definition that you're looking for. That puff, so to speak. Sure, we'll do this one. Trying not to get too close to the other ones, so we're just going to try to leave some space there. Oh, I forgot to put that in there. Let's see, let's do this one. So yeah, just sort of pick and choose ones that aren't super close together. If they are close together, that's okay. Just try not to over flood it so that, see how that's starting to touch? You don't want that because ultimately what's going to happen is it may run into each other. You're not going to get that definition you really desire out of the cookie. So, all right, we're going to put this aside, come back in probably 5 to 10 minutes and do the next round of sections. Okay, so as you can see, this one is actually doing a very nice job drying. It's already crusted over, so we're gonna go ahead and do the next set, or sections rather. This one is likely gonna take 3-ish, possibly 4 sections or rounds of flooding before we're fully done. So, be patient. It is worth it in the end. And of course I probably didn't start it out right, but you know what? The process is fun, so that's all that matters. Don't be afraid to go up on the lines as long as there's no, you know, fresh flooding, because it'll help with some of the dimensions. Make it look more puffy. Look how pretty this is. Let me do this one. And you know what, we are going to do this one. We're just going to try to cut it down. I'm not going to get too close to the other edge there. See? And then we're also going to do this one because why not? We don't have to, but why not? All right, we're going to leave that one alone now, let it dry under the fan again, and we're going to do another round of icing in a few minutes. How this one's coming out. So this has been under a fan for about 5 to 7 minutes. So let's go ahead and do the next sections. This is really looking very beautiful. So I absolutely love doing florals that have definition to it. And what I mean by that is you could see specific layers and petals. I really personally love doing ones that really have the petal definition. So you wouldn't be using a flooding consistency like this. You'd actually be having a more stiff consistency and create individual petals onto the cookie instead. I'll try to post a picture of what that looks like. That is my favorite way to go. However, using a stiffer consistency also means that sometimes it's harder to eat. It's a little harder of an icing. This one still remains fairly soft. It's just a different kind of texture. All right, so it looks like we have just one little section left after this one dries. So a few more minutes under the fan, and then the last section will be flooded, and then we'll be done. Last section. Here we go, and then this one is done. Do you love how defined it looks? So again, just try not to put too much in there. You don't want it to flood over. And ta-da! All done. So I did do an orange one on the side as well. Here's the red. And again, put it under the fan for a few minutes. I got icing all over me. Put it under the fan for a few minutes just to help that from cratering. And actually, speaking of cratering, so I didn't put this under the fan quite as fast as I should have, because you can see there's little divots here and there. That one's a pretty good one, just where the icing is falling. So this is what I mean by cratering. Sometimes a hole will go all the way through, and there's really nothing other than scraping the icing off and starting all over again to fix that. You can kind of see how there's like a little bit of a line there too. So this one's just being eaten anyway, but if I were to do this for, you know, a customer, I probably would have scraped the whole thing off and done it again.